culture. Classic pop culture.
Thank you, Joe Mandica, Australia's gift to the world of pop music. Joe is the writer, producer, and performer of our classic pop culture theme song, and Joe is a true friend of the show. And speaking of true friends of the show, how are all of you doing? Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. You have landed safely and peacefully at planetludwig.com. This is your pal and fellow fan of pop culture, Steve Ludwig. And here we are, show number 174 of Steve Ludwig's Classic Pop Culture. And on this edition, now I just mentioned how Joe Mandica is Australia's gift to the world of pop music. Well, my guests on this show are 4 more gifts of pop music from Australia. From the band Princess Planet. Princess Planet visits Planet Ludwig, very cosmic. We have Roz Crook, Chris Crook, and Dave Cottingham. And from the late 70s, early 80s punk band Z Cars, who were at the forefront of the Melbourne, Australia punk scene, Russell Diggins, aka Russell Street, when he was with the Z Cars. Russell also has written songs covered by Princess Planet. Now we'll be hearing plenty of music from both Princess Planet and Z Cars. Tons of fun and just super music talk. Right before we welcome our guests, I want to remind you all that we also have our Beatles Hour shows here at planetludwig.com. Yeah. As well as the Beatles After Dark. Planet Ludwig After Dark features that are slightly off-center in the best way. Now you can find all these things, plus our social media info, right on the homepage of planetludwig.com. Now this is the part of the opening where I shut up and allow the real talent to take over. So let's hear a brilliant song by our guests, Princess Planet. The song is Life in a Bubble, the remix. And on the other side, Roz, Chris, Dave, and Russell.
La 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 la. La la, la 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 Life in a bubble, it's happening so fast. You think it's your first breath, but it could be your last.
Life
in a bubble, it's coming your way. It don't care if you got nothing to say. Big plastic ball, it bounced down the hill. Well, that's last you see of Jack and Jill. Life in a bubble inside the dome. Some people like it, they call it home, but it's kinda nice being safe and warm, living your life inside the norm. You can't run and you can't hide, and you're trying to break through to the other side. Breathing so hard like it should last. Face press hard against the glass. Run so hard, you run so fast. Fall flat on your face or fall on your arm. I wish I could step into the danger zone. When no one cares if you're scared and alone. Life, this is my life in a bubble. This is my life in a bubble. This is my life in a bubble. Life in a bubble. Life, this is my life in a bubble. This is my life in a bubble. This is my life in a bubble. My life, yeah, ooh, bubble. It's kinda nice being safe and warm, living your life inside the norm. But there comes a time when you realize you're standing still, life's passing you by. Life is passing you by. Ooh, it's kinda nice being safe and warm, living your life inside the norm. But there comes a time when you realize you're standing still, life's passing you by. Life is passing you by. Passing you by. Life is passing you by. La 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 la.
Life in a Bubble, the remix from Princess Planet. And we are joined, talk about talent overload. From Australia, we have with us Mr. Russell Diggins, Roz and Chris Crook, and Mr. Dave Cottingham joining us. Lyricist Russ, members of the band, Dave, Roz, and Chris. How's everybody doing? Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. No, going well, mate. Going well.
Now, before we get started, I'm going to back up. I want you guys to see the shirt I wore for you tonight. Okay, so.
All right.
That's
Nice.
great.
Cool shirt?
Yeah.
We love Australia. I
Yeah,
love
even,
Australian music, and I've had Peter Rector from Toll Puddle Marathon, of course, Chris's band. I've had Joe Mandica. You may have heard of him. He's been on, and I am so happy. I love music from Australia. What is it about you guys? You're all so
So do we.
constant. And I'm so happy you're here with us.
The sunshine. I don't know.
Just Oz rock is the best.
Roz, why don't you start us off and give us a little history of Princess Planet. Now, I do want to mention to our listeners that parenthetically, it used to be Princess Planet and the Perfect Gentleman. Now, was it parenthetical because the jury is still out if they are perfect gentlemen, or?
Yes, I could.
Appropriate. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it can be erased at any time.
Please,
So
Roz,
wait.
tell us all about Princess Planet. And don't tell me what you said about Dave before he came on. He's not gonna like it. Okay.
I've heard it all. I've heard it all.
Well, I've known these gentlemen for quite a long time, particularly particularly one who's the lyricist, who's my brother, but he doesn't play in Princess Planet too often. He gets a gig every now and again if he's down this way. But,
Honorary member.
you know what the
Yeah, I'll say.
I reckon the hardest part about any band is getting the name. You know, it's the hardest part sometimes, and
So
everybody Yeah. So we're going way back with Princess Planet, and I think it was. I think it's kind of morphed as we've gone along. We've been different lineups in between, but generally the princess has always been in it, and that would be me. So I think at the day, I'm trying to remember the question how it actually came to mind, but I'm sure it had a lot to do. Maybe I was a little bit before the Me Too movement. I'm not too sure, but I remember thinking it was a Prince Planet. What's wrong with Princess Planet? Where's she? You know, she was in
girl power,
cartoons.
as they used to say. Yeah,
And
I think it's a very cool name.
It is, well, it kind of works. It kind of, yeah. And the boys are happy to sit by it, which is very nice. So that makes them the perfect gentleman, doesn't it? So we'll
Correct.
start with that.
That's part of it. Yeah, that's
Jeez.
part
Yeah,
of
it
it.
is. Yeah.
The guys have them all. The guys have them all fooled.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect gentleman.
Kind of remember.
Yeah, I kept
You
my
kind
hair
of
long.
remember. Yeah. So, there's no great story apart from the fact that, you've got to pull a rabbit out of your hat and come up with a name. And also we do play very eclectic kind of styles of music.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yes.
It's very hard to sort of, it almost needed some sort of outer planetary kind of, otherworldly kind of, make the music what it is. So it's kind of, wanted to get a little bit deeper into that, but yeah, I think that's where the Princess Planet came from. Anyway, it seems, and people remember it, and stick by it, so that helps.
And as we heard, leading into the interview, your vocals are just so fantastic, Roz. Really.
Thank you.
Really, so it's cool, and as we're going to hear, as we go on with the songs, but wonderful, wonderful voice. Really.
Oh, thank you very much. That's very, very kind of you to say. It's been a long time percolating.
Now, when did
Rosie has many voices.
When did Princess Planet begin, Dave?
For me,
Yeah,
it began. It's like over 10 years ago now, and Chris, we play in a big band as well, and Chris just kept nudging me about forming a band, and I'm very keen on original music, and so is he. So we both, through constant sort of like asking, he just kept asking me, you want to do something, and I finally caved in, and I said, yeah, I'd like to do something actually. And I was pretty busy at the time, but then I found myself sort of probably going across to band rehearsals like about 3 times a week. We were pretty intense in the beginning phases, because we were so passionate about putting together an original creative outfit, and I've always loved that since I was a teenager, and I've never met many people who are keen to do that, whereas it was a good fit. Me and Chris, we just seemed to like hit it off, like taste wise and just ideas wise, and we just get lost in creative sessions. We go crazy, we go on tangents, like this is supposed to be a structured band rehearsal, and they're like about 3 hours later we've just been working on one section of one song for about 3 hours, and all the other band members be looking at us going, what are you guys doing? We're supposed to be rehearsing for a show. So those sort of things happen. Yeah.
You give them a call, right, Dave? You guys can come back now. We're done.
Yeah.
They left long ago.
Well, we realized that we were wasting their time, and we did do our own sessions. So yeah, so we did do that.
Now, listeners to the show, you know the name Chris Crook because he's also the drummer for Toll Puddle Martyrs. Peter Rector, Graham McCoy, Chris Crook make up the Toll Puddle Martyrs. Chris, I'm going to put you on the spot. The current Princess Planet band, besides Dave and yourself, and of course Roz lead vocals, who else makes up the band?
We've got a drummer called Dale Murphy. He plays in an Australian, what would you call them, Dave? A punk rock band?
70s covers band. They do glitter. They're called Glitter Gang. So they do they do a made up special 70s special. Pay tribute to all the 70s music, and do absolutely killer note for note versions of those songs, like Evie by Stevie Wright and all that sort of stuff.
He also plays with the Painters and Dockers, which is a popular Australian band from the 90s. Is that right, Russell?
Painters and Dockers, yep. And quite a notorious name. They were a Warside Union as well, so they had quite a reputation. So a great name for a band, Painters and Dockers.
Yeah, so Dale is I step aside for Dale because I say I'm not worthy. He's a fabulous drummer, and so
So are you, Chris. So are you, Chris. Yeah.
I am guest when Dale's available to play with us. I let him play, so it means I can jump on the keyboards and fiddle around a little bit.
Mhm.
But bass player, we know because Roz and I used to play. We used to play in a Shed Zeppelin cover band with him, and he's an amazing musician. So he is our current bass player, John Crosser. But he works in he's a manager of one of these big music retail stores called JB Hi-Fi. So he works weekends, so he's not
a bit crazy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Dave, you're a lead guitarist.
Correct. Yeah. Rhythm lead.
Rhythm, okay.
They call me the lead guitarist, and I'm happy with that mantle. But I really like rhythm. I'm a big rhythm fan. I really like rhythm work and good rhythmic ideas. I'm stronger on them than lead. I'm not your typical lead guitarist who wants to be in the spotlight. I appreciate good lead lines and I love playing lead, but I like it to be like melodic and have a purpose, rather than just shred for the sake of shredding. Yeah, that's my take on it.
Now, you talk about what we've all been through the last 18 months or so. Life in a Bubble is such a topical song, but it seems the more things change, the more they stay the same. Let's go to the songwriter on this, Russ Diggins.
Look, it's
Life in a Bubble.
It's sort of come to pass, hasn't it? But I look back to when I wrote that song and I realised it was about 1989, very pre-pandemic. But I think the theme of sort of isolation and not being able to mix with people and that separateness, I think that sort of those themes have sort of carried through, and very pertinent for what people are experiencing now. But certainly back then, that wasn't. Those were the broad themes anyway. There, Steve. So it was nice that it was able to have another life, so to speak, now. And people may sort of think it's been written in recent times, but it actually goes back
absolutely. Yeah. But Roz?
Well, I certainly enjoy singing Life in a Bubble. I totally identify it, not just through the current situation of the pandemic, but what I love about most of Russell's lyrics, in fact, all of them, is that there's it's like an onion. They're so simple in their storytelling to a certain degree. They're not ones you have to sit and ponder. The lyrics are there, but behind all that, it's really great for. There is a depth to them because they're actually life's conundrums that we all deal with on every level. And I think that's why it kind of is almost timeless lyrically, because you can read your own situation in your own way. And Life in a Bubble's like it, and the maybe the more introverted, quieter type personalities who get stuck in their own worlds and try to get out and contribute somewhere else and wish they could be that person, but they haven't got the preparedness or the gumption or the nerve to actually get out and join society. So it's kind of that was where I was at when I was at the time, and then you move to another part of life and go on. But it sort
of fits.
A lot of
Can we all agree? I mean, that's the beauty of music, that one person's interpretation might be not what the songwriter had in mind, or another person, two people may have had completely different interpretations of the same song. It's so beautiful. That's what I love about it.
It doesn't matter. I mean, you can have
that's music and art.
Individual can put whatever whatever they want into a song or get whatever they want out of a lyric. So it doesn't matter. It's fantastic.
One of my favourite songs.
Yes, David, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I just said it's one of my favourite songs. I back up Rosie fully on that because I really enjoy singing the lyric and I enjoy singing the song and as backup. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. A great song for us to start the interview off with. It's a great great representation of Princess Planet. You know, I need to let our audience know before you guys came on with me. I gave a brief introduction, but this is a family affair here. Roz and Chris are husband and wife.
We are.
And Russ is Roz's brother.
That's right.
And David, you and I are just kind of hanging out over here.
That's okay. I'm an honorary. I'm Chris's other brother that he never had.
I think we kind of adopted that. So I think
yeah. I'm adopted member of the family. Though.
Right, there you go.
I'm adopted.
I can anecdotally say that, quite proudly say that Dave has taught all our 3 sons guitar.
That's right. So he's been very good part of our
So
family.
you're Uncle David, at least.
Pretty much. Yeah, I've earned my stripes. Yeah.
Russ is by blood Uncle Russ, but
That's right. Yeah.
Russ, what is it like, singing your brother's lyrics? Do you ever say to yourself, this is my brother who I used to have to take turns taking the garbage out with, and now I'm singing his lyrics?
Being the princess, I don't think I did too much garbage putting out.
I stand corrected, princess. Yes, of course.
Because I'm so much younger than my brother, so that's to be noted as well. But like I said, it's actually a bit of a privilege because, and I feel a little bit like, because I obviously know everything about being through Russell's life, not always part of it intimately, but those times gone by, I kind of, in retrospect, reading the lyrics way back past when he wrote them, it gave me a really good sense of who my brother was too, and not let alone his talent at being able to put things down, but literally his book of lyrics that we came by is just like a little magic pudding of marvelousness, and so it's really it's always been great to be able to look at the songs and knowing, perhaps where his mindset was when he wrote that and wrote the lyrics to all the songs. I love his humour that he can put in there. So it's really been the biggest part of Planet is Russell is in the lyrics, which is really fabulous.
Russ, how about when you hear your sister interpret your lyrics?
It's fantastic as well. No, it's great. I love to hear, I love to hear the way it's expressed, and I love Ross's voice and what she does with the song. So look, I think that's really nice that she's got a bit more insight into maybe, what was going on in my life when I wrote certain songs, and I think that might come out in the performance a bit too. You can sort of know a bit of the motivation behind a lot of what I write. So that sort of gives an insight that if you're just taking a song from somebody else you don't know, you don't have all that context. So I think that's really great that I love to hear Roz sing my words. So fantastic.
I asked a lot because I'm a lot more when we grew up, Russell was the one listening to Deep Purple and Zeppelin and the punk, and I was just a Donny Osmond and David Cassidy. So we are the yin and the yang of a music land. But so when I hear a song, I'm hip hop, in a nice way. Although I have learned to love, as the years have gone by, I really learned to love the Zeppelins and the nuances of the other land.
I think a 20-year-old you might have been surprised when you were singing in a Led Zeppelin cover band.
Long way from
Have you ever? This is true. Have you ever heard of the? I think it's an American band, the all-female Led Zeppelin cover band, right?
Yes.
Led Zeppelin.
Yes, very good.
Oh yeah.
Quite a few.
It's amazing. It's like a recipe, ways you can put it together.
That's right.
The bones are still there, the recipe's there. It's good.
Now another, excellent song before I even go further, how can people find the Princess Planet songs? Roz, why don't you tell us?
I would love. Yes, I would love to know. Personally, I
downloaded them off of I downloaded them off of Apple iTunes.
Yeah.
Well, that's one place people can buy
Yes,
you.
Yeah.
yes,
Richland,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, yes, CD Baby, SoundCloud. We haven't really done an album since the Richlands tapes back in 2013. But now that we're coming out of lockdown 7 here in our little part of Australia, Dave and I, and Russell and I too, we've got some little projects we want to work on. So hopefully there'll be a new next year. We might be able to finish off.
So obviously, in answer to your question, Steve, I'm not the marketing person behind this band.
You just learned something, Howard.
Yeah, she does. We've got songs in the can. We have some songs in the can. That have been
Do you?
That's right. You want to find it, you go out and find it. No,
Well,
all the usual.
You know, one of Russ's other songs that you guys did is True Reflections. Before we even listen to it, Russ, what can you tell us about that one?
Yeah, it was originally called something else. I can't recall what there was, but the lyric you had that True Reflection.
Jekyll and Hyde.
Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, it was something to do with Jekyll and Hyde. Yeah.
But it had the lyrics, right? Yes.
Do it. Mm-hmm. And going back a little way, Ros and Chris and myself, we were in a band doing some of those songs, a band called Crooked, which played some shows, I think.
Clever name. I like the name.
Yeah. So that was to involve the Crooks. Of course, you have to call it Crooked, but that song came up around that time. But I think the lyric, what is it? Inside every Jekyll there's Hyde. There's always something deeper inside. So it's a little bit about that still waters running deep sort of aspect to things, and just don't take things on face value. There's always something more to people than you'd imagine. So that was probably the motivation behind that song.
Yeah. David, I love your spacey kind of distorted guitar in this song.
That was pre-planned, but on the day, I think the way it came out was a lot better actually than what I'd planned. It was sort of very improv on the day. I remember when I was recording it thinking, gee, I'm hoping I'm hitting the right harmonic there, and I think I'm going to go there. And so it actually turned out better than I had hoped for, the whole concept of it, So, I'm pretty happy with the guitar sounds and that,
Oh, my God, yeah. I'm sorry, Roz. I think I just stepped on what you were going to say.
No, it brought me back to that day. I was trying to remember when Dave was talking about it, and I recall arriving at the studio, and I just had the most thumping head. I just woke up crazy that day, and the spooky vocal
was done on that day. Yeah, that's true. But then they were redone too. They were retaken. But the first vocal, we kept the first vocal because of that atmosphere that vocal created in the very first few lines. So we kept that part because we liked it. We kind of liked how it came across. It was good. But redid the rest.
Well, psychedelic music is my favorite type of rock music. So I can't tell you how much I appreciated your work on that, David.
It's quite ambient psychedelic.
Yes.
Song.
Absolutely. Yeah. It really does take you. Now,
it builds.
There's a video that used your song. Another song, the video. Explain the whole thing to me, Chris. I know that we're going to watch the video, which uses the song. You explain.
You or David, we stumbled on this Tropscore competition for all around the world. There was a short film, and anyone around the world could contribute a soundtrack to it. And the only trouble was you couldn't have pre-released it at any time. It had to be specifically for that project, which meant we didn't fit the criteria. But it's just anyhow the video suits.
The synchronicity when we sort of said,
that's uncanny.
And then we just literally put the music on against the film to see how it would,
didn't have to edit it.
And see how it would work. And our jaws dropped at the end. We said, we don't have a thing. It was every shot.
It Yeah, it looks like it was made
Yeah,
specifically.
it does.
Oh,
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's uncanny.
Yes.
It's so uncanny.
But, you know, didn't qualify by the criteria.
Well, they were wrong.
Minds, we can't.
They were simply
Yeah, it's
wrong. That's
amazing.
all there is.
Yeah, it's amazing the way that worked. Remember, Chris sent it to me, and I went, gee, that's like it was made for our song. Well, I remember looking at it after. I was thinking that's just so synchronous. The timing, the syncing of the scenes, and the way it all fits together is uncanny. It's like it was made for it. Yeah, we don't know how that happened, but it did.
Yeah. Well, why don't we all look at the video? Let's share it, and then we'll talk more about it on the other side. Okay?
Okay. Yep.
True Reflections. Here we go, everybody. Enjoy.
In every jackal, there's a hide. There's always something deeper inside. I know where mine is, but I don't know yours. And I try to hide it from you all. From you all. From you all. For a moment, it comes, it stays, and it goes. And I tell you why, but nobody knows. It makes you feel on top of the world. And I try to hide it. I try to hide it from you all. From you all. From you all. True reflection. Oh, I'm hiding it. I'm not denying it. True reflection. I'm hiding it. There's something that's deeper inside. Reflection. I'm hiding it. I'm not denying it. Reflection. No, no. I'm just hiding it. I'm hiding it.
I don't care if the video wasn't allowed to be in the competition. That song and video seemed to work perfectly together. We were just talking a few minutes ago about how one of us may interpret a person like Russ's lyrics, and I may interpret it a different way, or songs can mean different things for different people. Chris, a friend of yours, and I'm sure the others here, DJ Nee, remixed True Reflections. And I'd love to listen to that, but before we do, please tell us a little bit about how that all came about.
Yeah, well, Neil, DJ Neil was one of our former employees, and
Worked with Toronto.
and he's been a DJ for since his early days. He's from the UK, and he's actually performed at what's that massive big festival in the UK?
Glastonbury.
Glastonbury.
Glastonbury. Yeah.
So he and another guy were very renowned in the UK, and so I was aware of his work. And when he heard True Reflections, he said, "Oh, can I have the vocal? I've got this idea." And I went, "Really?" And the rest, he came back with this amazing. It's just like a totally different song. Yeah.
Oh yeah, same song, but different song. Well, why don't we listen to it? And people that are watching us will know what I'm talking about. Okay, so here is the 2018 Euro mix of True Reflections. Enjoy, everybody.
In every Jekyll, there's a Hyde. There's always something deeper inside. I know where mine is, but I don't know yours. And I try to hide it from you all. Such a great past. I am the consummate fraud, but how long can it last? I'm covering the pot 'cause it's starting to boil, and I try to hide it. I try to hide it from you all. I really like you.
although I've known you for 5 minutes of my life, where are you? Again, Princess Planet. Two things, well, many things, but Roz, again, I mean, just wonderful vocalizing on that.
Yeah.
And David, I mean, what a great guitar break there. So impressive.
That was our head nod to Foo Fighters. We thought we needed, and it was Chris O's idea. That whole middle section where the guitar breaks out is really Chris O's riff idea, and we sort of nutted it out together, but we worked it out together.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just wanted something to jump out and just grab you and shake you a bit, and which it does. In that song, it just, you don't expect it. It just sort of hits, and it's great. Yeah, I like the impact of it. Yeah.
Again, I want to remind everybody, and they can see it on the screen as well.
And that's thanks to Chris Pettifer. Chris Pettifer's engineering in that section was incredible. Like we sat with it for quite a while, tweaking things until it really jumped, until it really sparked. Yeah, it was
props
great.
to Chris. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. A lot of props to Chris for everything on the Richland tapes. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. It's fantastic.
It is fantastic. I wanted to remind everyone too, once again, you can hear Princess Planet's music on SoundCloud. Just do a search for Princess Planet. And
avoid the Japanese anime. There's a Japanese anime called Princess Planet.
Okay, not to be confused with the Japanese anime. Okay. No, well, our Princess Planet is better than that anyway. I haven't even seen it, but I know it's better. So, but yeah, Roz, I mean, the song about first impressions, and if I may just read from my notes here, again, how one person can interpret other things, but missed opportunities. This is what I got out of it. First impressions. Yet I also saw, one could become obsessed over first impressions. I don't know. What do you see in that song?
All right. Well, I see. Once again, I love the song, but I'm actually going to defer this one to the man who wrote it, to Russell, because we laugh because it was written a very long time ago, and when the line comes out with "I got your name, but I didn't get your number," well, that was when you had to dial.
That dates the song, doesn't it?
Well, or anything. And I think he has the story to. He does have the story. I know.
What's the history, Russ?
Okay.
Yeah. That was a period in my life when I was reaching out, trying to find someone perhaps at that particular stage, but there was a fleeting sort of encounter, really, really great in the moment, but it was one of the very ephemeral. I guess it didn't pan out, it didn't last, but it was just a song about finding something and then not being able to hold on to it, I guess, is probably where I was coming from that song. Yeah.
And its original title was called, because it was very 80s back then, a very popular name at the time was Allison. It was called Allison.
That was the name of the song way back when, yeah. But that's how it started life. And I think once again we played around with that when we were doing in Crooked. I might have sung a different version of that song back then. It was a different song completely into musically, but it's been around a while. And
so Allison was the original title.
Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah.
But Elvis Costello claimed that first.
I think there might have been. That's probably the good way to change that name, not to be confused with the great Elvis Costello.
All right. So I have the perfect people here to ask this question. I am not a songwriter, so I can never understand or figure out how the heck do you know when a song is done? I would forever be thinking, no, more. I have to put more in. More. No, I'm not done. Blah, blah, blah. I got to remove that verse. I'm just going to go around the panel here. Russ, let's start with you. How do you know when your song is finished?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think most times I just run with it, and I think I know. I don't try and overwork it or overthink it. So what normally comes out early doors, that largely remains towards, but you do fine tune a few things, and sometimes you look back even years later and think, I could have changed that, or maybe something else would have worked better. But I think you go with what you got at the time there, Steve, and look, for better or worse, it's what it is. And I think it's more about that sort of the heartfelt nature of it. If it sort of pours out and sounds right, I leave it at that largely. I don't try and overwork it from that point, but there have been some songs you struggle a little bit and you're just continually trying to come up with another line, another angle. And but most times it sort of just comes out, and I try not to change too much.
Sure. How about you, Roz?
Okay, well, I'm not being anywhere apart from a vocalist, obviously.
Yep.
I'm also hearing possibilities in a song, and I'll often like say, look at a lyric that's there, and there's always another way to interpret it. So and scan it and get the right feel and the right intention to come through. And that's another reason why I love a lot of what Russell writes, is a lot of it is open to so much interpretation. So, but in terms of vocally, no, it's really hard to let it go. You just got to. I imagine it's like painting. It's like anything. It's like dancing. I guess because every day you're a different person. You're a different being inside yourself. Different feelings. So then what you felt one day, you felt so heartfelt about, you come in a couple of days later, and you think, I knew it was something, but now I'm feeling something different, and I can hear that there's something different has to be. So it's a really good question, because I guess that's why I like playing live, because you don't necessarily get locked in. You can put the creative song and. And as long as you blend and you know each other well, I love that process where you're still sort of evolving the song live, even though it's set in stone.
Well, it's almost too. I'm sorry, I just stepped on someone.
No, I just said it. Yeah, it's supposed to be set in stone, but arrangements never are. And I think what comes through when you're performing live, it tends to evolve the song. It tends to sort of like, maybe we could have tried that, or maybe we could have tried. So next time we get together, we'll try doing this, we'll try doing that. So it's never really fully concrete. It's just something. And Rozzie's good at that. She's a really good set of ears to listen. And if she thinks the song's moving in the right direction, she'll let you know. And if it's in the wrong direction, she'll go, nah, it's got to go blah, blah, blah. So we set out an arrangement, and then if she's listening, she'll go, no, I think it should blah, blah, blah. It's a fear. She sort of sees an overall picture. We see all the fine little bits and pieces of the song and the chord progressions and the sounds and we have an out, and Rozzie's good at that, hearing something and sort of going like, you know what, this could be better if it went that way. And so we're constantly trying things a lot of the time. And when we get to recording, a lot of the ideas are almost made on the day. So we're sort of stuck with half we put a lot of ideas into our recordings, and a lot of them get chopped out. So, but that's a good thing to have that extra those pieces you can take in and you put in and leave out. And I don't think songs are ever structurally set. I think even bands who play for years will change their songs up just to help them perform them live sometimes, because they've done the same thing so often. They think maybe we should change little things around just for our own interest, and maybe to further the song, maybe to make it better. So there's a lot of things involved.
Chris, I'm going to swing over to you in 1 second, but David, you've written songs when you're without the benefit of someone like Roz saying, okay, let's do this, that, or whatever. When do you know? You're done.
Personally, good question. I think I work through a lot of ideas. I get the sections and I piece them together, and I think, how long should that go? Should that be, should I double up that bit? No, I halve that. So I think you do a lot of experimentation when you're putting a song together, and until you're happy with the format and you go like, that works like that. And I think it's an overall picture, but to build that overall picture takes a lot of work. Some songs come together very easily, they just flow. and they just seem to come out, you know, like the verse, chorus, the intro, and they all just gel and they fit, and you don't have to work too hard on them. And other songs you can rework them and you just go, it's not working, I don't know. We've got quite a few songs. We've got a lot of songs in our mountain of songs that we've sort of like just left to the side, and they've been left by the wayside because they've got to a certain stage, and then they just sort of go like, nothing's happening there, or we haven't got it, the chorus isn't strong enough, or the feel isn't right, or maybe it needs a better drum beat. So there's a lot of garbage sitting on the side of the highway when it comes to songwriting. Yeah.
Waiting to be
Yeah, waiting to be picked up. That's right.
Waiting to be jammed with a
into the compactor. Yes.
Chris, how about you? The impossible question, but when do you know a song is
No,
done?
it is impossible.
Well, I guess I'll probably reiterate a lot of what's been said. I think of some of my songs that, you know, I think I've done in an afternoon in 2 hours, and then we've got ideas that slowly come together. And you know, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts about songwriting, and you hear the great songwriters Paul Simon say that they often have an idea, you know, on a tape, and they'll think, oh, what was that idea? And they'll go back and they'll use it as a middle eight or something. But I'm really just so fortunate to be able to, one, have Russell as a lyricist, and we wrote that song together, the Gratified together, and Russell's a really great singer. I want to get Russell involved more, hopefully when we can get out of lockdown. But Dave and I find I get a lot of inspiration by collaborating with people. I'm so fortunate because Dave knows so much more about music than I do, and he often will just modify my naivety about music a little bit, and so I'm sort of very lucky. And obviously having, you know, Roz to sort of
filter.
She has things off of.
Naivety is good.
Yeah. All right.
Naivety in music is good. Because
David,
a lot of the great bands didn't know a lot of stuff. Say Nirvana, Kurt Cobain, he wasn't like the technical guitarist, but he could put chords together that sounded awesome, and he could nail a melody and make it work. Obviously, he had Dave Grohl to help, but together they were a magic pair. They were a magic team. Yeah.
And being in the house, obviously, Chris has got this amazing ability to, we could be in the middle of anything happening, like middle of Christmas lunch, wouldn't matter. He's got a little idea in that head. Off it goes. I mean, and I think, where is he? Where's Chris? And
Yeah,
there
that's what happens.
I've just had this idea, and I said, I think to myself, we finished that song, didn't we record it? I've just had another idea. Putting that in there.
Drives it nutty.
That's right.
it can be infuriating for some people.
But on another level, he says
Well, they have to learn to live with it, Chris.
That's right.
music, you know, because he hasn't got, you know, studies behind him or whatever. But this man, he's just walking. He has got so many tunes in his head. It's almost the tunes that come. That you know, it's really fantastic. So I don't know where. You know, that's a gift that he can do that. Yeah. But he can just gift and get him to do the dishes.
Can I say one last thing? There's a shout out to Peter Rector, who you know, before we moved down to the coast, I used to drum in his band. Quite regularly, we had a cover band, but ever since, you know, I've been playing with him with Top Palomatas, we spend hours on the phone every week, and he just guides me about songwriting. He's going, oh, you know, drop down a minor third or go up a major third, and he's just this wealth of songwriting. I always listen to things, you know, it just amazes me. So, you know, having people like, you know, the people around us today, and Peter Rector's one of the best.
Yeah, he is.
The world should know about him.
Yes, Peter Rector is you know, he's heard by many people, but not nearly as enough that would enjoy his music. Yeah.
Yeah, he helped me in Animal Tracks at the end of Animal Tracks when we were doing some of the guitar parts. He was sitting in the studio just listening, and he goes, perhaps you could try this. And he just sort of hummed me a little guitar line, and we put it on. It was great. Yeah, you can just hear things. Yeah. Fantastic.
You know, he certainly deserves all the praise we're giving him. But you know, Chris, I heard from a little bird. The bird's name was Peter, that the song Love by Toll Puddle Martyrs, you actually did the chord progressions in that.
That's right.
Came up with the chord progressions.
Well, yes, thank you. Well, Peter, as you know, is visually impaired. And one day, I was over there sitting at his piano with him, and I said, I've got this great, chord progression, and so gave it to him, and there you go. And he's come up with this great song. But we mustn't miss Graham McCoy, who actually we go back with Graham.
We go with Graham.
You want to tell him quickly?
I do. Back in the day, we had a threesome.
Trio.
Oops.
Let's keep it to the music,
Edit
okay?
that out.
Roz, your brother's here.
Oh dear.
And it dates us because the band name for this was 2 men and a, I was going to say 2 Minute Noodles. No, 2 Men and a Baby. Which at the time there was that big film go around, 3 Men and a Baby with George Selleck there. So we thought that was hilarious. So of course I was a baby, as it turned out. But Graham McCoy, who's was kind of
Supreme.
It's with everyone. Anyway, that's how music works, isn't it?
And Roz, you also appear near the end of LOVE as well.
I did. Yeah.
Yes.
I got it, which is great.
Well, Roz, I know you have much love for your brother, but your brother is a punk at heart, from what I've learned. From back in the late end of 70s, early
late 70s steps, late 70s.
Yeah, we have. Tell us about Zeb Cars, you crazy punk, Russell Street. I may call you Russell Street.
Yep, thank you, Russell Street, my
Formerly
stage
known as
name.
Russell Street. Yeah, please.
That's
tell
right.
us all about it.
That's it. Well, Z Cars, for those who don't know, probably don't know, it was an English police show, and it was a band of guys that had no idea what we were doing. All got swept up in the whole punk thing, and punk for me just meant possibilities, energy and possibilities. That's what it was all about. So didn't have to be a virtuoso, and I didn't know I could write songs or write lyrics or do anything. Didn't know I could sing, but all of a sudden, just get up and do it was the order of the day. So
that's the appeal of punk, though, for most.
Exactly,
punk
do it yourself and make up your own rules, good and bad. I mean, who cares as long as you're having a go. And I think that was the appeal for me. So massively inspired by the Sex Pistols and local bands in Melbourne. There was a band here called News, they was sort of an anarchist punk band, and they really crossed between the Ramones and the Clash, and they were fantastic. So got heavily inspired, got some like-minded guys who were much younger than me. So Roz's friend Lynn, her brother Craig, who died a couple of years ago now, was our bass player, the original Z Cars, got him into punk, and he had friends, and next thing you know, we had a band, and we just started playing around, and got to know some other bands in the local scene. A band called The Fiction, who later became Little Murders. I don't know if they sort of became reasonably well known internationally too, but got talking to the guy from Little Murders. Said, "You want to play a support gig with us?" And we said, "Well, we're not nearly ready." He said, "Don't worry, just come along and do it."
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Went to the Champion Hotel down in Fitzroy, then allegedly the most notorious pub in Melbourne. We played with Rob's band, The Fiction, then, and he said, "What do you call it?" We said, "We don't even have a name. We were so unprepared. We don't have a name." So he said, "I was going to call my band the Z Cars. You're the Z Cars," and we said, "Let's do it." So we were the Z Cars. We played, and they filmed that night. I've never seen the footage, but we were terrible. We really were. But it was a start. We had the bug, and we just kept going, and different lineups, lots of fun and games along the way. But we recorded a single in 1980, which
let's talk about that.
Yep, Girls Aren't Just Girls. That was fabulous. We kept going for a while, and we sort of eventually just fizzed out. But a lot of fun in those days. I'd do it all again. But if we'd sort of knew what we were doing, we probably wouldn't have done it, I guess. But it was just, the possibilities were endless. You just get up and have a go. So
to have that kind of feeling again, right? I mean,
yeah,
we all
exactly.
do. I think I don't know. I can only speak for myself, but I still think I'm in my 20s. In my 60s, but I still have that 20s mentality. It's just
exactly. Yeah. And I like to. So I was just going to say, I like to think when songs I write now, I still write with a bit of a punk sort of ethos. With that sort of mindset to some extent. So yeah.
You see, Russ, you're very humble though, because from the history I've read of Z Cars, really you guys were on the forefront of the Melbourne punk scene. You were one of the first, if not the first, punk group. Am I correct?
One of the first, on that sort of first wave of bands, and we were sort of caught up in all that, and we probably weren't one of the bigger bands, to be fair, but we played around. People enjoyed what we did, and I think our single was reissued only last year. 40 years later, I got a guy in Canada rings me up or contacts me and says, "Want to reissue your single?" And so went around again, and people all over bought it. So it was fantastic, and
Well, how about if we treat our audience and everyone? How about if we listen to the A side and the B side? Which one is the A side? I'm sorry, Russ, I should know.
I don't think we ever really knew, to be honest.
Okay.
I think ostensibly, because there's someone out there, was the A side, but people played both, and on the radio they played both, so it didn't really matter.
Let's start off with "Is There Someone Out There," and then we'll flip over to "Girls Aren't Just Girls." Here we go. Z Cars, everybody. Get ready. It's great punk.
Well, it's the whole world against me, or am I full of hate? I try so hard to get out, but I can't seem to relate. Is there someone out there? Please let it show. Do you feel like I do? I really have to know. I really have to. Do others feel as I do? Do they struggle to survive? Or do they find it easy, not hard to stay alive? Is there someone out there? Please let it show. Do you feel like I do? I really have to know. I really have to. Maybe it's all an illusion. I know it's there and nothing's real, and nothing's real. Well, if it is, I play along, and I hide just how I feel. Is there someone out there? Please let it show. Do you feel like I do? I really have to know. I really have to. Well, it's the whole world against me, or am I full of hate? I try so hard to get out, but I can't seem to relate. Is there someone out there? Please let it show. Do you feel like I do? I really have to know. 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 I said, don't know, you're wasting my time. She said to me, I'm sick of your line. I kicked her out, but she wouldn't go. She laughed and she told me what I didn't know. Now I understand that girls aren't just girls. I hope you realize they're the best in the world. She said she liked girls much more than me. I was just part of her fantasy. I couldn't care if she walked at the door. I just wanted to see her no more. Now I understand that girls are just girls. I hope you realize they're the best in the world.
Z cars. Now, guys, I'll tell you, I was just part of her fantasy. Great line, Russ, with the girls aren't just girls. And the song we led off with, Is There Someone Out There? So nice and punky, and I can't seem to relate the line. That is the punk mantra, I think. You know, you captured it perfectly in that one phrase.
Yeah, that otherness, that being a bit different, different, a little bit aside from everybody else. Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. Roz, did you see any punk in your brother? Not to be facetious, but were you surprised when he led a punk band?
Well, yes, I don't know the answer to that. Yes and no. I think at the time, I think it was very Russell. I mean, in a way, he's such a quiet, gentle soul, but you know, he's always asked everybody to look beyond. I hate to say this, Russ, look beyond the exterior. You know, like he's always not.
That's why they make the stage, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's right. And this persona on stage, I was, like I said, I was in a whole different space and time. You know,
David Cassidy.
Kind of. I was, yes, definitely in a different music scene at the time. So when we went along to see Russell perform, I was blown away. I was scared. But
another world. Yeah.
Knowing that behind it, but he's such a great storyteller, you know, in his performance.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, no, but it was, yeah. So I was a little bit surprised, and in another way, not. No, I think it kind of, that's what I gather the punk whole thing is, and is look beyond what's there.
On the surface, yeah. So,
you know, yeah.
Russell Diggins actually becomes known as Russell Street in Z cars. How'd you come up with Russell Street?
So Z cars was an English police show, and in Melbourne, the big police headquarters in Melbourne was in Russell Street. So I guess a bit of an in joke for Melbourne. So I called myself Russell Street. There was that tie-in with the police headquarters, but also the police headquarters was known as D24, just the letter D and then number 24. But forever I was trying to convince the drummer to change his name to D24, but he wouldn't.
That would have worked. That would have definitely worked. But it's still cool though, because you know, punk street. You know, Russell Street is a great punk name.
Thank you. Yeah, like a man of the street. I think we had various, played around with a few things, but that seemed to fit there. But just talking about that drummer and the connection with America. So when we reissued the single last year, tracked down the band members that were still around and let them know about it, but couldn't find the drummer who drummed on the single, Craig Presnell. And eventually I managed to find him living in America, in Chicago. He'd been there, living there for 20 years, changed his name to Craig Rodsmith, and he makes custom motorcycles now. So he was absolutely blown away, this sort of blast from his past 40 years later. And he was telling everybody he knew that I used to be in a band, and this they had no idea that was part of his life, but that just all came to the surface again all those years later. So
well, you know, Russell, as you've been talking, the audience has been seeing pictures of you back in the day with Z cars.
A little bit different,
Everybody, this is Russell Street right here we're talking to. You had a great punk look. Really?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, well, the famous, I think some of those the pictures had the famous bondage T-shirt, which a girlfriend made for him at the time.
That's part of the uniform, right, Russell?
Oh, look, it was fantastic, Steve, but it fell apart after a couple of shows. It was held together with Chuck Superwipe and all sorts of things, but it was nice while it lasted. But and then once again, that sort of do-it-yourself sort of ethos. Make your own things, whatever you feel like. Yeah.
What? Maybe I'm putting you on the spot. Do you know how someone can get a hold of the single? Where can it be purchased? Do you know?
It might be difficult. It was a vinyl release, re-release, and Mean Bean Records in Canada, they have a website. So that'd be your best bet to try and track down a copy through Mean Bean. but I think they sold out the second pressing. So whether there's going to be another pressing, we'll see how we go. Not a lot of copies, but still it sold. I heard people in Brazil, people in Russia. It just blew my mind that somebody in Russia.
Yeah, isn't it? That's so great. Yes.
How would they know about what I did all those years ago? But,
music is. I mean, it's. I'm not breaking any ground here, but music is so universal. It's the most universal language, I feel, anyway.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, connects with people. Yeah.
You know, I want to mention too. If you check out punkjourneys.com or Punk Journey or
Punk Journey,
Journey singular. Punkjourney.com, everybody has a great bio of Zedcar, so check it out.
And just mention some of the other bands featured on that from part of the Melbourne punk scene. People would have heard of Nick Cave, so he had a band called The Boys Next Door. So one of the bands featured there is Nick Cave's original band. Wow. So and few other bands that people might know names from.
Yeah, I'm glad you turned me on to that website. And actually, if they go on there too, they will hear an unreleased version or an unreleased song by Zedcars. And Rusty, you and I were talking before we started here, and I must have said 2 or 3 times, "Oh, can we play Barbie Girl?" And you said, "It's Barbie Doll, Steve. Barbie Doll."
Barbie Doll, yes.
So I mean, now that is punk. Yeah. Before we listen to it, what can you tell us about Barbie Doll?
What can I tell you? Yeah, I do recall I wrote that in the bath. Believe it or not, I just had an idea, and I trying to find paper and pen to get the lyric down, but
with your Barbie doll and your little
my battleships and my Barbie dolls in the bath,
like a rubber ducky.
Indeed, but no, it was a little bit, Barbie doll, a little bit about sort of plastic people, like and you know, some people are at a certain level and others aren't, and you just can't sort of bridge that gap to some extent. Yeah. But it worked well, and it was a winner live, and we played that, and that is a live recording, the one you were talking about there, Steve. So that would have been the next single for Zedcars if we kept going. But that's
well, luckily we're going to hear it now. I believe it was, if I remember, live at Martini's. Am I right?
Martini's, yes, that's right. I found tapes, remember audio tapes for the audience. They may not recall what they were, but I found some tapes, and I found that concert not so long ago. So that concert at Martini's in Carlton, yeah.
Let's hear it right now, live. Zedcar, Barbie Doll, and with some Barbie Girl rep. Here we go. Enjoy, everybody.
This one's for you. Barbie Doll dedicated to the bar lady. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh,
Barbie Doll by the great Zed Cars. And I learned while it was playing that for those of us here in America, and Russ gave a nice quick explanation why it's written Z, but pronounced Zed. And Russ, you were saying that's what Roz was saying too. It's just a British, Australian.
That's right. Yeah, that's how we pronounce what you call Z. We call it Z. So yeah, it sounds weird. We hear people say Z, but yeah, although having generations brought up on Sesame Street, we're quite used to hearing hearing Z, but you're probably not so used to hearing Z. Yeah.
No, it makes perfect sense though. Now we say, you see, everybody, they don't only have funny accents; they do the alphabet funny too. No, I'm kidding. I love you guys. I really do. It was funny the first time I ever spoke with Joe Mandica, a fellow Australian musician. I said, and he hadn't even really met me. I said, "Wow, you talk funny," and he just. I could hear silence on the phone. I'm saying, I'm kidding, Joe. I'm kidding. In my New York accent, I'm the one saying anyway.
Yeah. No, we know what you mean, Steve, and your T-shirt says it all. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
We love you. We America and Australia together. We love.
Yeah, we do sometimes.
I really do. I mean, ever since the Easy Beats. Now I go back to the '60s. The Easy Beats. I was like. Wow, these guys, I didn't know they were from Australia first. And ever since then, I've loved Australian music,
Yeah.
So.
Yes, the older brothers of AC/DC.
They're royalty. Yeah.
Yes, of course. Right. Sure. Yeah. Now, Russ and Chris, you guys, you were nice enough to share with me. We're going to share with our audience too. A song you guys working on, Gratified. It's called. Chris, why don't you start us? So please tell us about it a bit.
Well, if I remember, Russ, you came down with your boys to Bowen Heads one summer, and you took them down the river. And Russell doesn't always go in the water, and
not a water person. No.
Just with your Barbie doll.
With my Barbie, that's perfectly happy with the Barbie doll. Yeah,
that's different.
That doesn't count.
No.
So where we live down here in Bowen Heads at this river mouth near the surf, and so Russell went, I think, to the river, didn't you, Russell, and sat there?
I did. Yeah.
He came back with this song or lyric that you'd written, as you do on the beach. All finished, just there it is. And what do you call it? State of Play or something, wasn't it?
State of Play was originally called, that's right. So everybody else is enjoying themselves in the water. I had to do something to make pass the time. So I wrote a song and came back with a fully formed lyric and away we went.
And the other thing about that song, I know we're talking about songwriting, is I literally wrote, I remember recording it on my iPhone, the whole song. As it is. It was one of those ones that just came together because I had the inspiration of the words. One of those rare occasions. And Russell came down and recorded it at our little studio. And that was it.
Fantastic. Yeah, it sort of all came together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just looking forward to getting our guitarist here to add his nice nuances to it. But so it's all fairly rough. It's all demo at the moment. But
That's a demo, boy. I can't wait to hear the finished product because this sounds great. So let's check it out, everybody. Gratified, Chris Crook, Russell Street. Just kidding. Russell Diggins. Gratified. Enjoy, everybody.
I want to be free, but I don't want to vote. I want to go sailing in someone else's boat. I want to be privileged, not proletariat. I want to eat McDonald's, but I don't want to get fat. I wanna be gratified. I wanna be satisfied. I wanna be gratified. I wanna be satisfied. I wanna be a rich man, but I don't wanna pay tax. I wanna be numb by lies, don't care about the facts. I want to be clever, but I read the tabloid press. I want to help out, but not clean up the mess. I wanna be gratified. I wanna be satisfied. I wanna be gratified. I wanna be satisfied. My rights trample your rights. I don't care about your plight. My light's gonna shine bright, 'cause I'm the one that counts. My rights trample your rights. I don't care about your plight. My light's gonna shine bright. I'm the one that counts. I wanna be gratified. I wanna be satisfied. I wanna be gratified. I wanna be satisfied. I wanna be famous, but I don't wanna work hard. I wanna play poker and hold the winning card. I wanna save the planet, but I don't wanna change. I wanna make sacrifices, but without any pain. I wanna be gratified. I wanna be satisfied. I wanna be gratified. I wanna be satisfied. I wanna be gratified. I wanna be satisfied. I wanna be gratified. I wanna be satisfied.
Gratified by the team of Russell Diggins and Chris Crook. Guys, I that's a demo too, and I love it.
Thank you, Steve. No, a lot of fun putting that together, and yeah, well, great.
Now, Russ, you looking at your pictures from a Z-Car, you play guitar. Your guitars?
No, not at all. No, I don't play an instrument, to be honest.
The vocalist. Well, you were the vocalist of the
And
band.
that's because I couldn't play an instrument. That's why I ended up being a singer, because it was I couldn't do anything else. So yeah, that was it. But,
So, Chris, who did the instrumentation besides you?
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
You did it all.
Yeah, that's why.
Well, Chris, yeah.
I'll get the real players to come in and.
He's pretty good.
I'm telling you, fantastic. Yeah, you are fantastic, Chris.
Oh, thank you. Well, yeah. Well, Russell's been very modest. He can play bass and guitar, can't you, Russ? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Not very well, but a little bit, yeah. But yeah, only a little bit.
I want to see a guitar off with Russ, Chris, and David.
I know we'd win.
Not now. Not now.
I always say, how's my favourite guitarist?
Yeah, and yeah. Remember that little thing. I'm not your guitarist. Remember that?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Charlie Watts.
Oh yes, yeah. Oh, what a great quote. That was great.
It is.
It's funny.
Yep. Right. Just knocked on the hotel room door, right? Russ, what do your kids think of you and your former punk self?
Yeah, I think they really enjoy what I did and a little bit bemused, and yeah, they'll listen to it. And my youngest, Ewan, he's a guitarist now too, playing not in a band, but he's taken up that bit of music. But yeah, they love what I was doing back in the day, and yeah, particularly when the reissue of the single, that was just stoked to hear it all over again. And
Dad's cool factor just went way up.
Correct, exactly right. Yeah, so, yeah, exactly. So yeah. It's a bit hard to sort of picture what I was like back in the day, but yeah, certainly they love what I was doing, and I think, yeah, love the way I went about it.
Roz and Chris, what do your boys think of you guys being in a rock band?
Yeah, I think. Well, they up and laugh, but I think they would think they're happy. I don't know. I think
They have to love it. You know?
Don't say something there quietly. You can tell. And look, we've been in bands honestly ever since. When I was pregnant with my first born, Jack, who's we won't say how old he is.
He's in a band. He's in a band.
Yeah, he's in a band. Yes, I know it's been part of it. So they'll, get the kids, the three boys all bath fed and ready for bed, and in comes, babysitter, and you go out and you get home at, 6 in the morning, and then the boys would all wake up and you go, oh. So the music life for them has been organic. It's all been around.
It's always been, yeah.
And so that all of them are musical in a way, but I think they secretly, they can't show too much, admiration of what we're doing.
I'm sure they think you guys are the coolest.
The old folks are doing something, which is.
I think they're glad we're not famous. Otherwise, they'd be in a dysfunctional family.
No, I think it's part of the kids' rule book that they can't really say their parents are cool, but they know you're cool. They know you're cool.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, David, how about you? You have kids? I'm sorry if you don't mind me.
No, I don't have kids, but I teach a lot of kids, so I'm fully on board with the way teenagers think because I spend most of my weeks with teenagers, so I know exactly how they think.
So, what do they think of you being a rock star?
Oh, look, they're quite blown away when they know that I play guitar in a band. That's like cred. That's cred.
Yeah,
cred.
sure.
Yeah, so when they find that out, because often with their teachers, they just don't think teachers do anything. When they actually find out that you do something, you actually, and then if I play them recordings or songs, I've reduced kids to tears with my songs because they don't expect it, I think. It's sort of a bit of a shock to them. And then they hear a song and they go, what, you wrote that? They're sort of, because they're so young, and to think that someone can put together something like that, they're quite impressed. Yeah, so most of the time, you can get credibility by just mentioning that every now and again. Yeah, but I don't push that side of myself. I just work with the kids and try and hone their creativity and try and get them to be who they're going to be. And I actually love teaching music for all reasons. The most important thing to me is that they learn about life through music. They learn about themselves. They evolve as their personalities come out. I've had quiet little mice come in year 7, and by the time they're at year 12, they're fronting bands on stage, which is fantastic. I love transformation. Yeah,
it's a great expression. I mean, it's a way for them to express too.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
It's funny. I remember when I was a kid, young kid, and I'd be in the grocery store with my parents, and I'd see my teacher walking down the aisle with a shopping cart, and it's like, this person doesn't live in the school.
No,
buy food.
They're still the same. All school kids are exactly that. The moment they see you out in the real world, they put it's like that. They can't believe that you actually exist. Yeah, that's.
I'm Mr. Cottingham.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
What are you doing here? Yeah, exactly. It's funny. It's very funny.
Oh well, I think we're sitting with another, aren't we, Steve? You're an ex-teacher too, yeah?
I'm sorry?
We're sitting with, you're an ex-teacher too.
Yeah, I'm a retired teacher. I taught 8th grade English for 38 years.
I'm telling you nothing.
Yeah. Well, I started with a full head of hair teaching, but I loved every second of it. Yeah.
I'm lucky. I'm in music. I'm not classroom, so most of the kids that I deal with want to be there. I don't have many that are playing up and not wanting to be there. It's very rare.
Yeah.
So I've got that on my side. I'm lucky.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to get too far away from Gratified because I glanced down at my notes, and I'm sorry, I'm not being rude, but I just have so many things I want to cover with you guys.
That's good. You've got an interview to conduct.
With Chris, when you sent me the MP3 of Gratified, you told me that the lyrics speak for themselves. And they do, but may I just run by what I got from the lyrics, Russ and Chris? And tell me if I'm in the ballpark anyway.
Yeah, sure.
It's just, I think it's you're talking about kind of a gimme society. I want everything now, and I don't want to work for it. Just give it to me. Am I close with that?
No, yes, you're spot on, Steve. That was very much where I was coming from for that song. And I think it's all about self and people not having to sort of, not having to pay for anything in a way, but and gratified much more than, it becomes much more important than gratitude, I think, because you're coming off Thanksgiving, which is all about gratitude. And I think this is sort of the other side. This is all about self-gratification and wanting to do all these things, but not having to pay a price or not having to take any responsibility for what you're doing. So that's, you're spot on with what you're
not paying your dues, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. May I share a quick funny story that I hopefully funny that you guys might appreciate?
Please, yeah.
Having this show, I get a chance to interview some of my musical heroes. And if you guys are familiar with Tommy James and the Shondells, Moni, Crimson and Clover.
Yep.
So anyway, I spoke with Tommy James, and I always feel like I read too much into lyrics, but I love to anyway. So I said to him, so Tommy, may I ask you about Crimson and Clover? I said, let me know if I'm reading too much into it. Now I knew Tommy was a born again Christian. I didn't bring that up, but I said, now Crimson and Clover, crimson is red, clover is green. Green and red are the colors of Christmas. Is this a veiled thing that you're talking about the birth of Christ with Crimson and Clover? And he said, I just like the way the words sound together. It was a simple sash. I said, okay, so I read too much into it. He said, yes, I might use that story in future years. Okay.
Sounds like you did a master's PhD on it.
Yeah, a little bit too much. I got to leave the English teacher part of me back in my school days.
Yes.
Now, Chris, as I mentioned earlier, you're a member of Peter Rector's Toll Puddle Martyrs group. That's why when I knew you were the drummer, I thought you just drummed, but you're so a multi-instrumentalist. And you, Peter and Greg McCoy. I didn't hear that.
Probably more a mentalist than a multi.
You know what? You people are all too humble. I love all of your humbleness. I really do. You guys are all so talented, and I, being a music lover, I appreciate all your talents, and for you guys to take the time to be on my show too. I really appreciate it.
We appreciate it.
Oh well, then it's mutual. All right, it's mutual. But Chris, with I asked you in the many songs you played on with Toll Puddle Martyrs, if you would choose one that represents something you kind of showcases or highlights you and your work with Toll Puddle Martyrs. And what song did you come up with?
I came up with Doing All Right. I guess because it reminds me of Graham plays such a great bass line in it, and it's one of, I think Peter wrote it back in the 70s, and he found Doing All Right. So Doing All Right, that track, and it's got a Miss You from the Stones vibe about it. And
Speaking of Charlie Watts.
Yeah, and Charlie Watts, although I'm not busy in it, just love the feel. Yeah, so that's why.
So why don't we all get into it right now? Doing All Right, Toll Puddle Martyrs. Check out the drumming by Chris Crook, Brian McCoy, and Peter Rector. Here we go, everybody. Enjoy.
Laid in flesh and light. That's solid gold to me. You know we're doing alright at this time of night. Doing alright at things. But not getting old and you're feeling young. And we're doing alright at things. We're doing alright. You know we're doing alright. I said we're doing alright. Yeah, we're doing alright. I said you know we're doing alright at this time of night. Doing alright at things. The night's getting old and you're feeling young. And we're doing alright at things. Doing alright at this time of night. Alright at things. Doing alright. Getting old and you're feeling young. Alright at things. Yeah, we're doing alright. No, we're doing alright. I said we're doing alright. Yeah, we're doing alright.
Doing all right. Really, just a great example of the magic of Chris Crook and his fellow Toll Puddle Martyrs players. I'd like to get back to Princess Planet, and Roz, your lead vocals are just astounding, and we're going to hear more of that in a second. I sincerely mean that from the heart. Chris, you told me an interesting story of one of the songs from Princess Planet where Roz doesn't actually do the lead vocals, and it's Tanamai. Could you please tell me the great story, and then we'll listen to that as well.
When I was a teacher back in 1992, a secondary physical education teacher, one of my students who was visually impaired, he used to always hold my arm if we were doing an activity, and I connected with him. And he went as a 15-year-old, went home to the Tanamai Desert.
He's an Indigenous boy.
He's an Indigenous boy, and he's visually impaired, and he's Indigenous. And he went home to the Tanamai Desert to visit his family for the first time. And I wasn't aware until that he'd been taken as a 2-year-old from his twin because he was blind. Some do-gooder people thought that he would perish, left in the Indigenous in the Tanamai Desert where they live. And so he was brought up by some Baptist nuns and came to my school. And when he came back from his visit, he handed me this poem. He said, "You might want to see this poem, Chris." I said, "Oh." And I said, "That's fantastic, considering he can't see." And so I could put some music to it, and
so
I did.
It's really his feelings and his just the general sense of the spirituality of where he came from. It just came through in the poem.
Yes.
It's so amazing with all, considering he couldn't physically see a dog. That thinks, his home, which was just so wonderful. So it's great. So we put it to music, and
and I've reconnected with him in the last couple of years, and he did have one glass eye, and he's removed that now. So he was very talented as a writer. Went to university, and then didn't end up finishing for not sure what the reasons were, but he's I'm still connected with him, but he's doing some work within the Indigenous community, and a very talented. I guess he's not that much of a young man now. He's in his 30s.
He's a young man, Chris.
Pardon?
He's a young man to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm only disappointed he sort of never went on with his English, because he won some writing awards as well when he was at school. Yeah.
So why don't we? I'm sorry. Why don't we give it a listen right now? All right. Anna Mai, Princess Planet. Here we go.
Machines and traffic blots out the light.
Tanamai, brilliant song by Princess Planet. And Chris, thank you so much for sharing the story as well. David, a rocker, a real rocking song, and you playing the guitar again.
Well,
super work.
Well, definitely, I'm part of that guitar sound. I'm part of 3 guitars actually. I did a lot of the rhythm work, but also Chris's rhythm in that song. That's Chris's rhythm was created, and wherever we used to play that song, people's ears would prick up when they heard that rhythm. You just see them sort of go like, "Oh, that's a good rhythm." And so, when on the actual recording, I think there is Chris's guitar still in there. There's mine, and I'm doing most of the electric guitar work. And there's Chris Pettifer who does the slide guitar solo in the middle. Mm-hmm. So I was at that time that we were recording that, I was under a bit of time constraint, and I wasn't able to get to a lot of the recording sessions, so which were done at Geelong College, I think, a lot. And so yeah, so what I contributed to that is a lot of the picking rocky guitar sound, is my guitar, definitely. But the actual lead break is done by Chris Pettifer himself, which is fantastic. That he, and it's a great solo, which I love that section. Yeah, the middle section.
And I don't know how you when you first heard it, Steve, but to me it's got a real Australianness to that.
Yeah. Yes.
Does that come?
Didgeridoo.
It is of the land. Yes.
That's the kind of vibe that's I literally love playing that one. It's just very grounded song.
Yes, yeah, and the song is a great example of a true band experience. Now everyone kind of contributing their parts. Yeah.
There's a lot of contributing parts in that, including Cal, the didgeridoo player. So he was brought in to do his didge part, and our great drummer Dale Murphy did all the drum tracks pretty much, I think, from memory. Yeah, so it's a pretty cool track.
And Dave, I'm on backing vocals.
Yeah, we got to
Yeah.
Nice. Speaking of very cool tracks, beautiful ballad, Tear You Apart is what we're going to talk about and listen to next. Again, Roz, it's just your delivery is really, really appreciated as a music fan. And it's a beautiful ballad because she's on your mind every moment. That kind of sticks out to me. You know, who wrote this song?
Yeah, it was a collaborative. It was a collaborative many years ago. A lot of no. I think it's Phil Wilson, who's a friend of ours. Anyway, a lot of it was me.
Oh, great. Okay.
Actually, yeah, it came from it's a strange place. A story of a very good friend of ours who confided in Chris one day.
We've been drinking. And
it wasn't that much of a story. But no,
Chris,
it was just
Chris, nothing good ever comes out of drinking, I've learned.
Well, sometimes people confide things when you've had enough to drink.
That's true. You can hear some pretty cool things too.
Yeah.
Well, it was one of those occasions where, out of the blue, this story came out of this sort of a love of years gone by, even though he's a very, very, happy, committed relationship, and all, it was fine. But this thought had always came to him. He said, the girl who's always on his mind from way back when, which, doesn't know where it came. Anyway, so it's kind of interesting that all of a sudden you're saying, hold on, it's almost like this part of you that I don't need to know about. You're confiding me something that, but it was, so
it tugs at the heartstrings. It really
is about what do you do with that information when you get it, because it all of a sudden changes your whole what you think you know about somebody kind of concept.
Yeah. And beautiful ballad. Everybody, let's listen to it right now. Yes.
Unrequited Love.
Unrequited Love. Yep. The eternal. Yep. Tearing at the heartstrings. Here's Tear You Apart by Princess Planet.
evil time. It's turned out all wrong. And it's just because you're never there. Time can be a weevil that burrows down inside. You just can't understand where that time goes. It's cunning and it's evil when you are on the slide. You just can't understand where that time goes.
shifting sand.
And as you saw, Animal Tracks lead vocal David Cottingham. I wrote down some lyrics I just want to share with you. As you dance with the devil in the pale moonlight, as we sink into the shifting sands, animal tracks in the darkness, they're coming to take you away. Very cool.
Yeah, that
job.
I must confess, the devil dancing in the pale moonlight, I actually, as a growing up teenager, I loved Batman. So when I saw the Batman movie with Jack Nicholson in the rooftop taking on Batman, he actually said a line similar to that, dancing with the devil in the pale moonlight, and that just hit me. I just had, especially coming from Jack Nicholson, it just had such impact. And I thought I'm gonna take that and modify it slightly. And yeah, I don't think it's. I'll be probably done for copyright now. But anyway, I love that line. Yeah.
Edit? No, I'm not. Yeah, it's a great line. And then before that, we heard One Too Many Times. A nice, Roz, it's the type of song you can't help but to sway to.
Correct. Yeah,
it's such a great mood in this song. What was it like recording that?
No, I really enjoyed recording that one. It was, I think it was always going to be one of the sort of, in my mind, I hear a really lovely, deep male, bass voice. Oh, no more of a, real soul voice. I was about that. Oh, traveling voice. That's what I hear. But you don't mind, they had me, and so I brought my own. Russell's lyrics again. I got my own sort of interpretation to the song.
Russell, your lyrics? I'm so sorry.
No, sorry.
They were
My
your
lyrics
lyrics?
to this one? No, not on Animal Tracks. No.
Oh,
No,
okay.
One too
talking
many
about-
times.
One too
Oh,
many.
sorry.
times.
Yeah, no, my apologies. No, I did. That was my lyrics. That's right. Yes.
Oh, and I'm
Once
sorry I
again-
didn't give you the credit for them.
No, that's okay. A long time ago. That one I'd almost forgotten myself. But yeah.
Yeah, good song.
In these days, it's almost I'm almost embarrassed to ask this, but Roz, what's it like as a woman fronting a band? I shouldn't even have to ask that, but it's a cool dynamic.
Yeah, and not only that, but in my mind, it's I'm not feeling odd. I think I'm feeling more odd that just fronting a band, whether you're male or female.
Rossie's one of the boys. Rossie's one of the boys. She always has been. She
One of the guys.
Yeah.
fits like we do. Yeah.
She's natural performer. She's natural
Yeah.
performer. She likes stuff. Like her brother Russell. They get up there and they just turn into other people.
But I must say, maybe more to the point, it's kind of like having a voice around it. The guys are great like that,
Mhm.
which is good. It's what makes a band work, isn't it? Everybody can actually feel that they're contributing something that they therefore feel a sense of legitimacy about what they're doing, as opposed to, you want me to sing now?
Yeah.
Everyone's very tolerant about listening to ideas. And like this song, for example, like I said, it probably when it was written, it was more from a different voice, but they were very good in terms of, giving me the opportunity to go to interpret it in my own way, which is comes with a different angle, being female and etc. But no, I feel like I literally feel like I'm hanging out with all my family in the band, so it's
Good. Great.
Originally, Tom Waits would have probably done a good job on that.
Tom
That's the voice. Okay.
Well,
never
my
mind.
goodness, I'm sorry, Roz, I stepped on your last line there.
No, that's okay. You just got my voice, and not Tom Waits. But never mind.
I love John White's, but we love your voice as well, Roz, believe me.
Yeah.
So listen,
you'll have to add that.
David,
I've always said about Rossie's voice that she's 6 vocalists in one. She can pull out a rock vocal, she can do the ballad vocal, she can do all sorts of different styles. So she just couldn't pull out a Tom Waits vocal for that one, but that's okay.
but we'll forgive you for that one.
Okay.
Well, I'll you make a perfect point, David. Princess Planet is there's so many styles that you cover, so many genres of music. It's such a pleasure listening to you guys. So we can hear you on SoundCloud. And on Facebook, Princess Planet has a Facebook page.
And iTunes.
David, I'm sorry.
iTunes, the Richland Tapes on iTunes.
iTunes, we'll see Princess Planet. And if you want to do some digging for the Z-Car 40 for the single,
we can Mean Records. Yeah,
we can find that. Yep.
Mhm.
Well, I'll tell you, we like I said at the top, I had talent overload tonight. Russell Diggins, Roz Crook, Chris Crook. Like I said, I feel like I've known you forever now. And David Cottingham, I can't thank you all enough. You really, and I was saying this while one of the songs were playing. When I was a teen growing up, we would go in the basement with my cousins and friends, and we just listen to records and talk about them. And that's just what we did here. And I loved all the time you guys spent with me, and I really appreciate you giving me the time.
Thank you so much.
No, it's been great talking to you, Steve. Yep. Really great. Thank you.
Thank you. And I hope we can all speak again sometime. Truly.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks.
So.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Steve.
you so much.
Take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Classic pop culture. It's classic pop culture. Hosted by Steve Ludwig on Planet
Now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.